Hello, class. Today I'm giving my opinion on this week's discussion on whose responsibility is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and how the government can help individuals. Here in Chicago, probably in many other states, there are emissions tests for your vehicles, and that's one way to mitigate how things are happening in the environment. I also wanted to look at how Japan was doing with their recycling program. So 40 distinct classifications, and that is pretty intense. I think that even here in the city of Chicago, we have only like, I would say like five or less. The city of Gamakatsu, they have interesting ways of mitigating uh, with their waste. Here, one of my favorite ones is that down the street, the factory where the local women make products from discarded products like teddy bears and komodos. And also, I read that there are places where you can take in your old furniture or clothing and leave it there for somebody else to take, and you can actually exchange some of those things for free for other items. And I think extending the longevity of a product can help reduce the energy used to burn or destroy those items. I think is very important. Here in the city of Chicago, Free Geek is actually very cool. You can bring in your used computer you don't use, your monitors, your whatever electronics, and volunteers can break it apart and learn how to test out computer parts and different things and how to recycle the electronics. Another thing here in the city that used to be very big is the Center for Green Technology. It was actually very interesting. They were an educational, government owned building that helped individuals learn about how they can better improve their environments and be more sustainable. This also not only went to individuals but large companies. There were different certifications that you could obtain, kind of like credits, kind of like LEED systems. So you get these certifications and you take these classes from different categories, and you can use the certification to apply for a new job. And once you have this knowledge base and knew what you were doing, you can help the company you were working for. Also, companies love to talk to individuals about their products. So this also helped with networking, and being able to be flexible with your resources was really important, and this was the place to go to. It's a breakdown of their goals and how they plan to help communities be more aware and how to implement change, which is really important. And sustainable innovation, so different technologies, different systems, things that you they might have people might have not known about, and companies teaching them how they can use their systems, their products. We look at cities as large pieces. We should also view them as smaller individual parts, smaller communities, see what their individual problems are. The individual communities need to be aware of what is happening in their own environments and how they can solve their own problems, network, kind of like the Center for Green Technology, have a place where they can learn and not just rely on the government. Many times when you have community forums, it's literally communities versus government, and that seems to be an impossible way to go about it because it's just creates a lot of tension. Have everybody around you understand the same problem as you are. You also have this sort of not necessarily self-policing but self-reinforcing um, uh, community where people can say, hey, you're doing a great job, or hey, remember to not throw this in the street. I don't know. Um, this happens very often, and this is why a lot of the sewers get clogged. Because the communities, after solving their issues, have their own independent sustainable way of living and their own independent place in the city. They have their own character because people in the neighborhood um, have found solutions to their own problems. And I think that's what a community is, and people cooperating and talking to each other and knowing, being knowledgeable of better habits.